Good Thursday afternoon to you. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. This VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook is brought to us also by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Utility impacts were possible Friday afternoon into Friday night, and even possibly stretching into the early morning hours on Saturday for rounds of thunderstorms out ahead of a couple weather fronts that will be pushing into the region over the weekend. Now, there could be some strong to locally severe thunderstorms in the mix, especially Friday afternoon and evening. Conditions incrementally cool off over the weekend with unseasonably colder air pushing in early next week. This will set up possible frosts. We'll have the remnants of Tropical Storm Bertha really largely miss Vermont, really not affect us. It will affect portions of western and central New York, over toward the Ottawa Valley, perhaps over toward Montreal, but really it's going to be pushing through the region while turning anticyclonically to the right, and for us, it's going to be passing wide left tonight and early Friday. The best project weather days are Monday and Tuesday of next week. This will come along with cool areas of higher pressure. An active tropical Atlantic hurricane season was growing in confidence, and this could affect the East Coast, including New England, something we'll have to keep a close eye on. A quick look at the temperatures, and we have an upper level trough that's located in the middle of North America. It's bringing down colder air. You can see temperatures basically in the 30s up in parts of Canada. This is some of the sort of a slingshot of colder air that's going to whip into the region and affect the northeast United States as we get into basically Sunday and especially Monday and Tuesday of next week, producing some frost potential. And we have the remnants of Tropical Storm Bertha, and that's located in the vicinity of Ohio here. It's going to be taking a track pretty far to the west of us and really not affect us and become extratropical and lose definition, and that's going to be the case. So goodbye, Tropical Storm Bertha. Looking at the European model, we can see the big, strong area of higher pressure that's brought us this heat wave, and this heat pump continues around this Bermuda high, centered a little further to the north and east of Bermuda technically, but the southerly and southwesterly flow has brought in very warm air yesterday, of course. This is being reduced and cut back down with some areas of clouds, and those clouds are kind of dampening down the temperature. We do have a little bit of moisture headed our way in this southwesterly flow. You can see that, however, as it approaches Vermont, it largely falls apart. We could see a little bit of sprinkles or light rain showers in some places, mostly toward the far southern counties of Vermont, and then maybe cutting across the far northwest corner of the state during the overnight period. But for the most part, we're looking at Friday's weather system really associated with this band of showers associated with a cold front that'll be pushing on through. So this is how the trends. This is early Friday morning. We get into Friday afternoon. This is valid about 2 o'clock, and you can start to see a little bit of moisture here, and kind of hard to see in the state of Vermont there. But if things begin to add up and start to moisten up a little bit, this is good news. Much needed rain. And we're going to get that during Friday night. There will be a round of thunderstorms. It looks like at least a couple of them, with the best action probably Friday afternoon into Friday evening, and then more benign thunderstorm activity. Some of that can be, of course, locally heavy, but we may have those storms continuing to pop off through the night, overnight, Friday night into Saturday morning. Eventually, during the afternoon, things begin to clear on out. We get into much better conditions, and relief will be brought in with lower dew point temperatures falling basically into the 50s. And then we have the secondary front. This is, you can see a little bit of precipitation on the leading edge. And these temperatures, yeah, this is 850 hectopascal cold temperatures aloft. That's running the 0-degree isotherm. And this is, again, crazy stuff here, but cold enough to snow. That's really going to be after the showers kind of move on through. So no real issues there, but a little bit of shower activity on Sunday morning, and then a pretty chilly day setting up with probably a lot of mountain cloudiness kind of holding tough. We have this area of higher pressure here. This is going to be sort of ruling the roost, and once we get into basically on Monday and Tuesday, this is valid during the morning hours on Monday. That area of higher pressure should be holding out probably into Tuesday. We have a kind of a shortwave trough working on in. Hate to call it an Alberta Clipper, but that's kind of what it is, going over the top of the heat ridge. and then diving in to Vermont. That would happen, it looks like, Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then because we have high latitude blocking, we have these discombobulations here in this area of low pressure over the Canadian Maritimes will kind of cut back toward us. And you can tell there's some kind of blocking over Greenland, and that induces a trough, and that's what's going to make fairly cool weather for a good stretch of next week. 3-hourly QPF centered on the Montpelier region with the GFS Canadian ensemble. This is our main issue right here. This is Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday night. This is 0 Celsius, and this is mostly overnight with the heavier rains, and then it lingers into, it looks like, a secondary uptick with that frontal boundary passing on through during Saturday morning. We get into better, drier conditions, but still a little bit of showers off and on indicated there. Total accumulated rainfall, QPF, you can see it's about 0.8 to about an inch of total moisture. This would be good for many gardens. Let's hope it happens. And a little further along here, let's look at precipitable water. Of course, it's very beefed up during Thursday and Friday, and you can see it here, a little bit of a drop from this morning, and then an uptick, and then things crash as drier, cooler air begins to work on in. Looking at capes, this is where our best convective available potential energy is, and that's a decent shot. Sufficient updrafts here with 16, 18, 200, 2,000 joules. Looking at the wind shear, it's approximately in this area, so we're talking 30 to 40 knots, about 35 knots of wind shear in general, but as the night progresses, those wind shear gets a little bit stronger, but I think in terms of the cape is going to fall off, so keeping that in mind, pretty good fallback here. And this is a little secondary cape that's going to be with just out ahead of that cold front with that passage along about Saturday morning. So the main action really to worry, utilities interest here. We really need to watch what's going to be on Friday afternoon into Friday evening. This is the Weather Prediction Center total accumulated precipitation over the course of the next 7 days. And you can see the blue here. This represents about 1 inch amounts. This is a ½ inch. I got ½ inch, quarter inch. So we're kind of right in the zone. Another secondary zone off to the north and west of us, but this is the indicated. And let's look at 2-meter temperature here. So 2-meter temperature gives us for Montpelier warm days here, both Thursday and Friday. Then we drop it back down into the 70s and incrementally cool us off again. Temperatures basically into the 50s on once we get into Sunday and Monday. And you can see just how chilly we'll stay. MOS, or meteorological output statistics. This is the next 5-day maximum temperatures. We'll be running around 6 degrees below normal. 3 days later, 3 to 6 degrees below normal. Maybe a little bit of an uptick in temperature, not much. A little bit of moderation. Climate reanalyzer looks like this in terms of the temperature anomalies. It's the worst to the north of us here, as clouds have spread up into most of the lower 48. Little cool down here. We still have a lot of warmer temperatures up in the Arctic. And last but not least, remnants of Bertha. No problem for us. It's going to be swinging wide left as it makes that anticyclonic right turn. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.